Last time you were with us, we were sailing in the beautiful islands of Ibiza and Formentera. And this week, we're picking things up in yet another breathtaking anchorage in Ibiza. So we're in the north of Ibiza at the moment, and this afternoon we're planning to set sail across to Mallorca, to our next Balearic island. We're just waiting for the winds to pick up. I can feel them already starting to pick up, but we're due to be getting some good winds this afternoon. So we're going to wait it out, and we're going to wait for the winds and do a bit of a later sail into the evening, as we've got about 45 nautical miles to cover this afternoon. For the first time, we're going to set up our code 0. We haven't yet had it out yet, just because of time and waiting for some downwinds. But today we're hoping should be a really good chance to get it out and get us sailing a little bit quicker than we usually do on our Genoa.
First thing we need to do is get it out of the bag. Whilst we've flown spinnakers before, this is the first time we've set up a code 0, which is pretty exciting. The first step is to prep our code 0 halyard and detach it from the bowsprit, which is what Ruth is doing here.
First we attach the head to the halyard so that we can get the sail up, and the difference between a code 0 and a spinnaker is that it works on a furlex, so we can actually unfurl it and furl it when we want to put it away and get it out, unlike a spinnaker where you have to get it into a bag and get it out again. Super easy. Once our sail is attached to the halyard, it's time to unravel it from the bag and place it on the deck ready to hoist.
Okay, so the head of the sail is now attached to the halyard. So we're going to attach the furlex and get it out onto the edge of the bowsprit. So we're going to do that next, and then hopefully that should be the two places mounted, and then we can go ahead and mount the two sheets as well. Okay, so the head of the code 0 is attached. We're just going to start hoisting that up with the code 0 halyard at the moment. We have the furlex attached to the bowsprit. So just make sure it doesn't get caught. Wait!
Now the sail has been hoisted about 60% of the way, we can go ahead and put the foot of the sail and the furlex in position on the bowsprit.
Now we just need to hoist enough so it's not too tight, but it's up and off the deck, ready to attach lines. Ruth jumped onto the winch to hand crank it. You go, Ruth. Who needs a gym when you live on a boat? Okay, so now we're attaching the sheets to the clew of the sail. We've got port and starboard. Okay, we can reattach that. Okay?
Yeah.
And then we can run the lines back, port and starboard.
So this goes on the outside.
Yeah.
Of everything.
Okay, you can actually hoist the rest of the sail as well.
So we'll pop the sheets down for a moment.
Okay, furlex is attached. It's attached on the code 0 halyard. Ruth's going to finish hoisting that up now. Okay, the code 0 is up in its most basic form. There's a few things we need to sort. So it's been pulled up on the code 0 halyard, which is fine, but it's coming down here where our furlex and our line attaching to the furlex is slightly twisted. So we take the furlex off and untwist that line. We also need to take the line, the furling line off and get it around the other side of the sail and underneath the guardrails as well. And then we're going to lower this down to the bowsprit to give the sail some tension. And then hopefully we then move on to sorting the sheets out. We successfully untwisted the furlex and ensured the lines were running correctly. And it was my turn to do some manual graft and pull the sail down as much as possible to secure it to the bowsprit. Ruth finished hoisting to get the sail into its final position. I then moved on to running the sheets back to the stern of the boat, going through a block, then a jammer, then a second block before taking the sheets back to the winch. We'll use these lines to unfurl the sail when we're ready to use it. Okay, the next thing we need to do is run this furling line all the way back down to the starboard side, and it's going to go all the way down to the helm for easy access. So we think it goes in like this. So let's do this in here, and that one on top, and that just locks shut like that. And then we're going to run this all the way back along starboard. So this morning we are unfortunately leaving Ibiza. On our Schengen days, we don't have enough time to stay. I wish I could. I've had a lot of fun. It's my first time visiting Ibiza. We've had a bit of a party, as you have to do in Ibiza. We went to some beautiful restaurants, amazing bars. We went to Formentera, we did some hiking, we did the cliffs, the beaches, the water. It has been unbelievable. I've had a lot of fun. It's been one of my favourite places so far. Ibiza and Formentera are beautiful. But hopefully the fun's not going to stop. We are heading to Palma today. It's going to be about 10 to 12 hour sail. The weather's a bit dubious, but it's going to be dubious for the next week. So we're just going to go. We've got circa 10-11 knots on a broad. So we've rigged our Code Zero. It's the first time we've got our Code Zero out. We've just not had time. We've not had very good downwind sailing up until now. And it's one of these things you've got to be organised. You've got to get the sail rigged and ready to go ahead of your passage or ahead of the day. So we have been organised this morning. That's now rigged. Ruth's having a little paddle in amongst the cliffs because this anchorage is unbelievable. And then we are heading for Palma. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it is a safe, enjoyable sail. We don't want to motor. Hopefully no motoring today. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to Palma. There's a festival in Palma on Monday, which we're looking forward to. And yeah, I've heard lots of great things. So let's get sailing.
We prepped the boat to leave and we lifted anchor. We were sad to say goodbye to this anchorage. It's definitely one of the most rugged and beautiful places we've spent a night at. But we set sail, excited to see what Mallorca has on offer.
We've just set off for Palma and we've actually left early. We're not expecting any wind forecast. The forecast said there was about 9 knots at the moment, 8 to 9 knots. We had a suspicion there was slightly more than that. We've come out of our anchorage, there's 14 knots of wind and we're flying along at 7 knots. We were expecting to get there late or early tomorrow morning, about midnight, 1 a.m. And now our current arrival is 7:30 this evening. So hopefully, we're praying this wind continues throughout the day.
And we finally got the opportunity to fly our Code Zero for the first time. We're on our way to Mallorca, and so far we're about 5 nautical miles into the journey, out of about 47 altogether. We've just got the Code Zero up because the wind started to drop slightly and our speed started to drop, so we were like, perfect time to get the Code Zero out. We've never sailed one before, but it was really simple, working on a furling system, really nice and easy to get out. The Genoa's now away. The benefit of a Code Zero, so Code Zero is about halfway in between a Genoa and a spinnaker. So it's not as light as a spinnaker, but it is a lighter material than our Genoa. And not quite as big as a spinnaker, but the benefit of it is that you can actually get further upwind quite easily. So we're sailing at 90 degrees on a beam and it's absolutely fine. It's giving us about an extra 1.5 knots of speed. So we're super happy with it so far.
And we continued on our passage at a steady 8.5 knots, with the Code Zero helping us along.
So we are halfway across the Mallorca Channel and we've done around 23.5 nautical miles, 23.5 to go. And we can just about see land behind us. It's really hazy, so you might not be able to see on the camera, but we can see land finally. This has been such a more enjoyable sail than our sail from the mainland Spain to Ibiza. If you've watched our previous video with our Ibiza sail, we unfortunately didn't have the luxury of time and we were meeting friends, so we had to just go on a day that didn't have any wind. Today has been fabulous. We picked our weather window. We've got this Code Zero up, which we are loving, and we're just having such a great sail. So much more fun than motoring. Yeah, super happy, halfway there. Fingers crossed the wind continues. It started to dip as forecasted, but hopefully we've got enough to get us straight across.
But as we closed in on Mallorca, the wind started to drop and we began to lose our speed. So we decided to pull in the Code Zero, drop the sails and get our engines on so we could arrive before sunset.
We did okay. We got around maybe just over 3/4 of the way with really good wind, and then it was the last little leg that we needed just to get us there before sunset, where the wind has just dropped off. We are getting about 4 knots of wind at the moment, so we put the engines on just to get us through the last little bit. But all in all, really good day, really enjoyed it, and Mallorca is looking beautiful.
Well, welcome to Mallorca.
As the sea was so calm and the sun was setting, we took the opportunity to drop the Code Zero and pack it away. Hey, hasn't it?
It's been an awesome day today. I have really thoroughly enjoyed today. It's been an awesome day. I've loved flying the Code Zero, and that sunset is making the end of the day perfect.
And just as the sun set, we arrived into our anchorage for the night. We didn't quite reach Palma today, but it's just a short sail for us in the morning.
So we have arrived into Santa Ponsa. We came in last night just as the sun was setting. We didn't quite make it to Palma. Palma would have been another couple of hours, but we decided that we'll head round to Palma today and we can come into this anchorage in the light during sunset, drop anchor and actually have an evening to have dinner and chill out a little bit. So lovely little anchorage. The sunset last night was beautiful. What a welcome. We are coming along the coast of Palma. We're about an hour away, but we're doing 3 knots in 6 knots of wind. We're sailing about a 30-degree angle. We're not really in a rush today, so I don't really see the reason to bang on the engines and build up engine hours. We just want to have a slow sail to Palma, enjoy the sail. Ruth chilling out reading a book. I'm sailing at a very slow speed. But we're gonna get around the corner and we're gonna shift from a 30-degree angle through to downwind sailing. So we've got the Code Zero ready to go. And we finally made it around the point and the Code Zero started flying. And before we knew it, we arrived into a beautiful but busy anchorage spot. Anchoring around Palma is difficult, with little protection and poor anchor holding, so we opted for Cala Punta Negra instead. About 30 minutes bus ride from the centre of Palma. And after anchoring, we headed straight there. I spent most of the day laughing at Ruth as she was dressed like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. What do you think? Pretty similar?
And if you haven't been to Palma, you have to add it to your bucket list. It had such a lovely vibe. It's a busy, bustling city. The architecture, the people, the food, everything was glorious. We could instantly see why this is such a popular destination for yachties and tourists. And as day turned to night, we realised we had a problem.
Okay, we are out in Palma. We've had a wonderful day. The boat is about 30 minutes away. We've been out all day and the sun has just started to set. And it's made us think that our anchor light isn't on. And is there not an app? Or is there some way of turning the anchor light on and off remotely from an app?
Or is there not a device that just comes on automatically when it goes dark and you can just leave it on and then stops us from going back?
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you know of a solution that we can turn our ankle light on and off remotely.
Alright, we are waiting to leave Palma. We've had 3 amazing days here and we're just waiting for the winds to pick up, which are expected to pick up around 4 p.m. So we're going to have a late afternoon sail and just kind of do some bits around the boats before we get ready to sail. There's one job that's been on my list for ages and it's getting worse and worse and worse, which is to clean the hull underneath the waterline, which is so green. So I bought myself a new brush yesterday, which is nice and soft, and I'm going to go and clean the hull. So I got my snorkel on and I went swimming. But I soon discovered one of the problems of owning a catamaran. There are 2 hulls to clean. I've had an absolutely fantastic last 3 days exploring Palma, but now we've decided to move on. We're going to explore the rest of Mallorca, and we've set sail heading to our next destination just for the evening. We waited until the afternoon. It's about 4 o'clock or just after 4 o'clock now, and we were promised by Windy that there'd be 15 knots of wind. We've currently got about half that. So we are heading there slowly. We've nowhere to be this evening, so that's absolutely fine by us. We're just about making over 4 knots, but it'll be a slow progress this afternoon, but we will get there when we get there.
But our speed just didn't matter, because look at the stunning coastline we were sailing past. Thanks for joining us as we sail along this part of the Balearic Islands. If you enjoyed the video, then please like and subscribe to the channel. It really does mean the world to us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.